But Sly sits there until we find him. He gives us that line, and he returns to his shop. He returns to Dirtmouth and opens up shop. But when we had brought him that key, he knew exactly where it was. He remembers this. Sly knows of the radiance through the crystals. But what's more interesting is Sly knows about us. And once we find Sly, we know about us. Because again, there is some minor foreshadowing. In the prayer to the Nail Sage, it actually talks about the God of Gods. It talks about us. The very last line on that poem, and it's a 4-line poem, it talks about us. And that, in and of itself, a prayer to Sly, asking to see the God of Gods, the one that is greater. We get to learn about ourselves. So we have the very end of the game. And I say the very end of the game. Obviously, you can finish the game multiple ways. Radiance, sealed siblings, fucking usurping the vessel. But I mean the very end of the game because this is the last DLC that came out. And once you ascend the Pantheon of Hallinest and we unlock Shadelord, we are the God of Gods. And Sly knows about this. Sly is old as shit, guys. He mentions this as well when we buy the Sprintmaster charm from him. He lets you know that that's a charm that lets you run around, and then he has a throwaway line like you're young again. Or so I've been told. Sly tried out this charm because Sly is getting old. Sly knows so much and has so much foreshadowing with him that this character instantly became really neat. And then it's over. We get our charm, we become a Nailmaster, we buy everything we have from Sly, and there's nothing more. Not until we reach the third Pantheon. And this is where we can start to draw some really cool conclusions. By the way, let's talk about Sly real fast on that third Pantheon, because that fight's fantastic. Quick little notes for that fight. Sly's tunic changes colors. I believe it goes to like a purple there. So does the altar. When we first enter that fight, Sly is actually meditating, and the altar is no longer the bluey gray color that we see down in his basement, because this is a direct pull from his basement where we learn that he is the Nail Sage, and that's why I have Nail Sage written next to his name, because this is the Nail Sage area. This is his basement. In the background there are 2 incense burning trays, if you will, 3 plumes of smoke from each. But that altar has now changed. Sly's color has now changed. He's not the gloomy shopkeeper. He is, in all of his magnificence, the great Nail Sage. His nail is no longer gone. It's actually thrown in from the top of the screen, and if you guys have a theory on that one, I would love to know that one. Do the next one shirtless. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, Del. I'll tell you what, bud. I bet you we can figure out a way to do the next one shirtless. Now you got me thinking, like, we gotta set some rules for y'all, but maybe we can do that. Maybe we can get that one. The fuck was I? Sly. Sly's the son of a bitch. Up at the third Pantheon, the fight's amazing. His color changes. The nail gets thrown in from the top. That's where I was. The nail gets thrown in from the top, and that's an interesting key as well. Who the fuck throws this nail? Because it's not in the shrine that has now changed. He has no longer put up his nail, but his nail now is used. It's now revitalized. And something interesting we know about nails is nails have a will of their own. And we learn that from the quick slash charm when we get it from the great nailsmith. No, it's not the quick slash, is it? Ooh, I think it might be the quick slash. I may be wrong on that. But those nails, those imperfect nails have all fused together but from a will of their own. And I'm gonna double check that one because now I'm not so sure that is quick slash. Or somebody find out real fast, throw it down there. Maybe we can do the next one shirtless. Steam jumps up 3 viewers. Yeah! That's awesome. Shirtless, okay. But once we ascend that third pantheon and we topple the Nail Sage, we get to draw some cool parallels. And they're not just parallels about the nailsmiths themselves, but the pantheons in general. And those parallels, they can mean something if we want to go that route, but they definitely mean something for the fourth one, which we know is Pantheon of the Night. So on all 3 of these, when we face Oro and Motto and Shio and Sly, in that order, we don't kill any of them. These gods are all at the top of the Pantheon and we do not kill a single one. They all bow to us in respect. And so we can draw the conclusion that whoever's behind that 4th Pantheon door, we're probably not going to kill them either. And here's where the Nail Master, the Nail Sage conversation led me into something that was more. That was a little deeper, and we're going to go into it because it ties in here even though it's not directly about them. So we can draw that assumption going through, that whoever's behind that door, we're not going to kill them. We can also draw the assumption that all of the bosses we have faced in all of the pantheons have more or less been either dead or infected. They're a dream boss. I shouldn't say dead. They're fucking dead. You know what I mean. They're dead or infected until we reach the top of the pantheon. And then there is a clear, distinct, we know the NailMasters aren't infected. We very clearly know Sly isn't infected. So again, we know that whoever's behind that 4th door is not going to be infected. Mantis Lords bow too. They do bow. The Mantis Lords do bow when we don't kill them either. You're absolutely right. But we know these gods are gods above all gods because they are at the top of the pantheon. And so drawing that conclusion, and then we find out that, oh shit, Hollow Boy's up here. But fuck me, this dude's got a new form and some new moves and has wrecked through so many fucking assholes. It's not funny. That dude is one of the cooler fights, and he wrecks some motherfuckers, doesn't he? Pure Vessel is not a fight to fucking scoff at by any means, but again, we can draw that same parallel. At the top of the pantheon, here is a being that we know is not infected. That was raised to prime form. And who better to raise that vessel and to train that vessel than the great Nail Sage? And perhaps through that training, this is why the prayer to the great Nail Sage mentions the God of gods. Perhaps this is how Sly actually knows about us, about the vessels and about Void and about a God that is greater than any other God. Perhaps we can draw that parallel. But the other parallel we can draw is that we're not going to kill this pure boy. And we don't. And this is where things took a massive turn for me. So, buckle up, guys, because we're going to go into Pure Vessel. Because when I looked at the Nailsmiths, and I looked at the NailMasters, and I looked at the Nail Sage, and I looked at Esme, and then I took a look at the Pantheons, I drew straight to Pure Vessel and those parallels, those foreshadowing events that we could draw, and I knew we weren't going to kill him, and we don't. The Radiance cast a beam of light down, and we ascend. We can ascend into the Pantheon of Hallownest. However, when we see Pure Vessel again, he's no longer what people like to call the grown-up form, and we're going to squash that shit right now. We are going to squash that. That form is shown in the fountain in the City of Tears. That form is found on the seals of binding. We find his head in its adult form. He's not an adult. He's not anything. These are vessels, guys. They don't grow up. They're dead. They're void. They're nothingness. He is the god of nothingness. He is not an adult. Sly probably isn't old enough to be around in pre-infection Hallownest. Maybe that knowledge of the vessels was passed down through the Nail Sages. So again, I'm going to slightly disagree with that one, because we know Oromato and Shio were around, being brothers and probably genetic brothers on this one. But we know from the dialogue in Green Path, once we have the Nailsmith there, and they're actually doing the models of the clay, we know that Shio actually knows about the 5 Great Nights, which is before Infected Hallownest, because the Nailsmith actually tells us that in their time, Nailsmith didn't pay much attention to them, but Shio remembers them in detail. And if those 3 brothers were trained by Sly, and Sly gives us the throwaway line about being old with the Sprint Master charm, it goes to reason that Sly's probably older than the 3 brothers, also being the sage and being wiser and a teacher. He's probably older, so I imagine Sly was around during pre-infection Hallownest. And god damn, I just did all that from memory, so I hope that was good. If Elderbug is old enough, then Sly is. Bingo. Because we know Elderbug is like one of the youngest characters in the game. But we've ascended that 4th Pantheon, and we've beaten Pure Vessel, and we see him again along with all of our other vessels, not siblings, because I don't want to use that word because that's an actual in-game enemy, but our other vessels, our other kin, that'll work. Our other kin behind us, but across from us, across from that beam of light, is Hollow Boy, but he's not grown. He's not big. He is the exact same way that we saw him in our memory. And this got me asking so many fucking questions. And this is where I really want you guys... I don't fucking care about updates. Like, fuck off. God, so many technical issues. I am never using this laptop again. This is where I really want you guys to sound off here, because this one I have not actually drawn an opinion on. But I'm going to present what I found, and I want you guys to tell me what you think down low. So, we see Hollow Boy in his what we'll call the younger form in that memory, the same form we see from a time